A national security analyst, Rebecca Grant, to talk about all of this. Rebecca, so Iran has yet to strike Israel, but yesterday our service members at Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq were targeted in this suspected rocket strike. So who's responsible for this and how do we respond?
Well, it's tragic, and I'm telling you, Biden almost has a war with Iran on his hands. This was carried out by a militia group in Iraq that is funded and supplied by Iran. They used apparently some Katyusha rockets, which are very old Russian rockets. They go up to the perimeter of the base, shoot the rockets, and scoot away. Now, we actually did a retaliation in Iraq against these types of militia groups a few months ago. So I think now that the White House is going to be looking at the potential for retaliation, but job number one is force protection for our other forces in Syria, Iraq, and of course out in the Red Sea and at all the other bases in the region where we have American service members.
I mean, Rebecca, you just said that President Biden almost has a war with Iran on his hands. How do we prevent that? Because that should be a number one on his agenda this morning.
Exactly, and that is the reason for the second massive movement of U.S. forces into the region. Remember, we have an entire aircraft carrier and her strike group up in the Red Sea. Already have land-based air forces at various places around the Persian Gulf, and the reports now of one or two additional squadrons of fighter jets, including F-22s. And the point behind all this is to try to keep a lid on Iran because their strikes can pop out at so many different locations because of all their proxies. And another very important move from last night is pulling the USS Wasp and the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit closer up to in the Med in case of trouble in Lebanon. So, the Pentagon right now 24/7 trying to deter and keep a lid on this and then be ready to intercept whatever Iran or their militias may try to do next. But this amount of force posture, I mean, this is just a different world with Iran at this point.
Yeah, and something we noticed yesterday is President Biden or Kamala Harris have not made a public statement about this attack at Al-Assad, despite the fact that they had ample time to do so yesterday. Remaining silent in the face of Iranian aggression is a choice and could also send a message. Was that the right thing to do?
Oh, I agree. No, I would have liked to have heard from President Biden, who runs this White House Twitter account. I'm tired of getting foreign policy just over that. And it really is time for Biden to talk about, we have wounded Americans because of an attack by Iran. Now, those service members at that base, hey, they know how to take this. They're ready. They've got their force protection in place. But this is just way too much. And this is what you get for being soft on Iran. Biden and Harris have been very soft on Iran, and Americans are paying the price.
Yeah, and these attacks on our bases in Iraq have happened for weeks now because these Iranian-backed militias want us out of the region, and they're trying to send a message. How we handle that situation is another topic entirely. We need to be in Iraq in order to secure our bases in Syria as well. So all of this is interconnected and very complicated. But when it comes to this potential attack on Israel, Iran published a list of potential civilian and military targets, places that they say they are considering striking, and it's extensive. It includes airports, gas fields, power plants, the Knesset building in Jerusalem, 8 air bases across Israel. So Israel must be thinking, well, they could be striking these areas or not at all in some other different place. And I'm sure that's the point of Iran releasing this. So how should Israel and the United States handle this information?
Yes, Iran is playing a tactical game, and there's only one way to handle it, and that is with our tremendous air and space-based intelligence and surveillance. Believe me, we and Israel are watching every move, every approach. It's 1,000 miles from Tehran to Tel Aviv. That's a lot of airspace, and that's what our Navy destroyers and our land-based systems, and of course our Space Force helping out too. We are watching very carefully for any flare-up that signals the start of an attack by Iran, and also looking at Iran's military force posture as well to see what's going to happen. Iran's being very, very methodical about this, And I hope that if Iran attacks, we'll have what happened in April, which is 300 out of 300 missiles and drones shot down by the U.S. Israel partners, a lot of help from the country of Jordan and many, many others as well.
That coalition was critical. This is a critical moment for the region and a very serious situation indeed. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As always, have a very good day. Rebecca Grant live for us.
Thank you, Carly.
You're very welcome.
I'm Steve Doocy.